This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia with a tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then.
All right, Harris County, you have me. Another tip from me. I'm Gilbert Garcia. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. This is a big day. This is a big day because we, of course, are celebrating Labor Day. And no better way to celebrate Labor Day than to have one of our own labor leaders, and that's Mr. Paul Puente, who's the head of the building trades. And we're going to talk all about the building trades and what it really means to this area. So welcome to the show, Mr. Puente.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's always great to see you.
Appreciate it.
And we want to cover a lot of things today. So this is going to be a very packed show. And I think we already have one caller in. And Debbie.
Debbie. Her name is Debbie.
We have Debbie. Debbie, well, let's push it. Let's put it through. Let's put in that call. We have Debbie. Debbie, are you there? Debbie, well,
Yes, I'm here.
Debbie, you got
Good
me,
morning.
Gilbert Garcia, tip for me with Mr. Paul Puente. You are our first caller. So there you go. What do you got us for here today?
Good morning, Gilbert. Well, I am going to promote once again our dinner to bring God's love to El Salvadorian children. It is, we are trying to raise money to send some children's Bible resources to El Salvador so the pastors can use them in the orphanages. And the orphanages are overcrowded right now because of the issues that they've had in El Salvador with gangs and getting the gangs off the street. And it's left a lot of children without homes. And
Oh,
so
my
we
goodness.
want to
Well, tell us again.
get in there.
Tell us again. I know it's going to be at Brennan's, and we're showing on social media now. Excuse me. Tell us again
It
all the
is.
details.
It's going to be Sunday, September 21st at 6 p.m. at Brennan's. And there are tickets, hopefully, on the website to buy. And we are having 6 of Houston's finest chefs, a lot of them that have gone through Brennan's and opened up their own restaurants or gone to other restaurants in the Houston area. And so we're going to have a celebrity chef's dinner, and we're going to have a silent auction, and we're going to have one of the pastors from El Salvador speak about how he can use these resources to help him in the hope and healing for El Salvadorian children.
Wonderful. Give me that date again, if you don't mind.
September 21st.
September
it's a
21st.
Sunday night at Brennan's of Houston on 3300 Smith Street
At 6 o'clock.
at 6 o'clock.
Oh, wonderful. And how do people get tickets?
There is a link on the social media site to get tickets. Or if you can't join us, just considering making a gift.
Sure. Do me a favor. What was that website again?
The website is let's see, biblicaevents.com/Houston. So it's BIBLICA events.com/Houston.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And it's also on the Brennan's website. If
Oh,
they
how
wanna
great.
go to, Brennan's website and look for it.
Well, thank you so much for, educating us about this event. It sounds like a really wonderful cause. And please call in again. We thank you for that very much.
It's
Okay,
delicious
and
too.
maybe-
I've been
maybe
there.
Have you been there?
Gilbert-
Yeah, it's a great restaurant. It's really good.
Yeah, Brennan's is delicious.
So if
And
Mr.
Gilbert,
Puente,
maybe you could be a sponsor. and
Oh,
maybe
that'll be
get
great.
there.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
yeah, Mr. Puente is like talking up Brennan's. There you go.
Yeah. Alex
Yeah,
Brennan
yeah.
Martin, who serves on
Yes.
Houston First with me, is the owner there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes.
Well, we got to thank him. Well, Debbie, thank you for calling in.
Because they're donating the whole upstairs to us.
Oh,
So
how
that's really
wonderful.
nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That-
So thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you for calling in. Please call in
Uh-huh.
again.
Okay, we'll do. Bye-bye.
Bye now. What a great thing. Do we have another caller there already? Before we get into, and make sure you put those names on that bowl for me, okay? So I'm going to keep going here with Mr. Puente. So Paul, tell me something real quick before
Yes,
we
sir.
get going. I heard that that you're quite a fisherman these days, and I heard that you have a what do you call it, a first mate, or because you're the skipper.
Yeah.
Remember, like Gilligan's Island, there's a skipper, and you have a first mate. Tell us about your grandson.
My grandson, Aiden. So this young man started fishing at the age of 3. I mean, I took him real young.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he loves to fish. I have another grandson, AJ, which is another young man that I taught how to fish as well. He's a great kid. He got on the boat at an early, I think he was probably 7 or 8. He was on the boat and it was rocking. I thought he was going to get sick, but he did really well on that.
Wow.
But,
and have they caught, this sounds a silly question, but have they been successful to catch a fish?
oh yeah.
Do they look at it, and do they like touch it?
They
and
grab it.
Come
They bait the hook. They take the fish off the hook. I mean, they're just great kids.
Oh my God. You know what? Those are memories that are going to be with them their whole lives.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Hold on there. We got another caller already.
Junior.
Is there a Junior there? Junior, are you there? Junior.
Hey, Gilbert.
Junior, you got me. Junior, you got me and Mr. Paul Puente. What do you got for us today on a tip from Gilbert?
Man, you caught me off guard. I didn't know you was going to have a guest stone. I called to give you your flowers while you can smell them, Gilbert.
I like
First of all,
it. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, seeing this being the first day of September, I was hoping I'd hear some Barry White September when I first. I thought I'd hear that, but maybe you'll play it later.
Yeah.
But Gilbert, man, the thing I respect about you, Gilbert, is that you put your money where your mouth is. You don't just do a whole lot of talking. You don't call the radio station as a contributor. You put your money where your mouth is, man. And that's why I voted for you for mayor. And if you run again, I would vote for you again because you support Black radio stations. You got a lot of people that call themselves contributors. They bring guests on, but it don't benefit us. They bring a guest on, then you don't hear from the guests no more. But you, Gilbert, man, you put your money where your mouth is, supporting KCOH and Gospel 1360. So if you run for mayor, like I said, I would vote for you again because I'm a big guy on a lot of folks do a lot of big talking about they love this and they love that about this radio station. But you never see them nowhere. You never see them supporting nothing. But you be every place, Gilbert. I want to thank you, man. That's all I had to say. And if you could play September by Barry White, Gilbert Garcia.
I'm going to
thank you, brother.
Don't leave me yet because that is so kind of you. And I'll tell you what made me start this show, Junior. Just so you know, is I just got very frustrated that there wasn't an outlet for the people to get information. And I just felt that there wasn't, let's go the other. There's so much negative media out there. And I just felt that someone's got to really sort through all that. And there are a lot of good things happening in the community. And people just need to know and hear about it. Whether it's like this thing that they've got going for El Salvador, whether it's, I know we're going to have Representative Ron Reynolds to educate the people of what's going on in Austin, whether it's just whatever it is, people want to talk about what's going on at their church, what's going on at their Little League, whatever it might be. And we've had so many great speakers. We had the Housing Authority chairman. We've had, of course, the fire chief. We've had all kinds of great people. Ultimately, I appreciate you saying it because we're going to keep this going as long as we can because the people need an outlet. And more than ever, now that the federal government is starting to back away from public media, it's going to get harder and harder for people to get real news about the community. So we're going to hold strong. And I appreciate you recognizing that.
I appreciate you too, Gilbert. And once again, if you go for mayor, you got Junior vote because you put your money where your mouth is. Thank you, Gilbert.
That means the world to me, Junior. Thank you, my friend. What a great guy. What a great guy. So before we go back to more questions on labor, because today is Labor Day, I want to get him on because he just called in. Representative Ron Reynolds, I believe, is on the line. Representative, are you there? Representative Ron Reynolds. Ron Reynolds. We can't hear you there, my friend, but you can call us if I lose you. Mr. Ron Reynolds. All right. He'll call back, I'm sure. So coming back, Paul, let me ask you something.
Yes.
You've been in the labor movement really all your life.
All my life.
All your life. And how did it get started for you? Was your father a labor man? Was your grandpa, anybody?
Well, I have uncles that are pipe fitters, and then I have uncles that are welders. You know, they've been in the industry for a long time, and you know, they were not in the union.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, they weren't in the union. And when I worked, you know, that's how I learned about the union. When I started working in the industry, and once I got, you know, into the union, it changed my life completely. I mean, I used to have to pay for health care.
Yep.
I used to have to. I didn't have a pension.
Right.
I mean, these are things that a lot of folks that are in the industry and construction, they don't really think about. And I didn't. I know other folks don't either. I mean, there's this 401k that are out there, but those are they're not as sustainable as a real defined benefit.
That's exactly right. You know, I want to talk a lot more about the unions, but I know that Ron Reynolds is now on the line. On the line. Excuse me, Representative Reynolds, are you there?
Happy Labor Day, Gilbert. Happy Labor Day to all your guests as well.
Well,
Happy
you know,
Labor Day.
You have Mr. Paul Puente here, of course, from the trade unions. I know you know him very well.
I do. I love our labor, and our organized labor does so much. We owe everything to them when it comes to working families and livable wages, access to health care, and so many other worker protections. So we stand in solidarity with our labor movement.
That is fantastic. And we're going to
Thank
talk a lot about it here on the show. But if I could, Representative, is tell us the latest news in Austin, because if I'm not mistaken, everybody's back. This stuff's going to, you know, pass. But if I'm not mistaken, that there's going to be a lawsuit, and I think there's going to be a lot of action. Why don't you update the community of what is going on in Austin?
You got it. You got it. Let me give you the real Cliff Notes version. So we did go back and make quorum. We did what we could to raise the awareness. We as the House Democratic Caucus to stop the racial gerrymander that would decimate 5 congressional seats and primarily African American and Latino communities.
Right.
The bill passed, which was House Bill 4. Governor Abbott signed it into law 2 days ago, and now we've already had the first round of lawsuits that have been filed by organizations like the NAACP and LULAC. There'll be other lawsuits that are coming. The lawsuits challenge the congressional redrawing on a violation of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, because basically, essentially what they did was packed and cracked those African American and Latino communities to deny them a representation. We saw Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia's 29th Congressional District impacted, as well as Congressman Al Green's 9th Congressional District and the 18th Congressional District. Those are the 3 congressional districts in the Houston area that were significantly impacted, that would look remarkably different if the court does not strike these racially gerrymandered maps down. We are in the last week of the special session, starting, ending this Wednesday. I'll be driving back to Austin tomorrow. There's only a few items left, but this special session's been not so special. The only thing, Gilbert, that you should know that we did that I was very proud of was flood relief for the victims and the families and that were impacted by Kerr County and the over 130 people that lost their lives to that devastating flood. We did put some legislation in place to help to mitigate that, to hopefully not see that happen again in the future. There's still work to be done, but that was about the only thing that we did positive. The other things that we did negative, real quickly, in addition to the racial gerrymander, we did more assault on our LGBTQ community, more anti-abortion legislation, and so we saw more red meat for the MAGA base that Governor Abbott and his extremists put in place to really put harm to minority and vulnerable communities. There was nothing to expand Medicaid. There was nothing to raise the minimum wage from $7.25 an hour to a livable wage. There was nothing to address paid sick leave. So we did nothing for the majority of Texas families this legislative special session. So I just wanted to kind of give that quick update. The lawsuit will be pending for some time. The wheels of justice move slowly, but I do believe that once things shake out, I'm prayerful that the court will find that we violated the Voting Rights Act, because certainly it appears that we did.
Well, there's a couple of things that just come to my mind right away, if you don't mind, which is, first of all, the Congressional District 18 still does not have representation. And here they are voting on things like the big, beautiful bill and this and that. Right. And there's not even a voice for that community. And and on top of that, you're going to have an election here, I believe, this November. But what's going to happen? Because they're going to redraw the thing. And then what happens? That's correct. It just seems like it's going to be somewhat chaotic, because we know the wheels of justice go slow, and I get that. Right. But the thing about voting and representation, that moves on, and that does not stop. And so they need representation. So where do you think this whole thing's going to go? And by the way, I'm going to complicate it one more time, because the first original maps that came out of the last session are now still under court. There's still litigation on that, when here's going to be new litigation. I mean, how do we sort this whole thing out, Representative?
Gilbert, it's chaos. You got redistricting maps, court challenge on top of a court challenge, because the last round from 2021, where Christina Morales and I actually saw each other at the airport in El Paso, she had testified the day before I did. And so we were there testifying on the maps from 2021. Can you believe that?
I
4 years later, and the court is now, hopefully will be giving out a decision on that last round. And now we have a new round. This is mid-decade redistricting that should never have happened in the first place, by the way, because the redistricting, for a refresher, only happens after every 10 years once the census data come in to account for population shifts and growth. So this is really unprecedented. Where do we go from here? The likely thing we know, Gilbert, is that with respect to the 18th and the special election with the multiple candidates, it's almost certain that no candidate will have 50% on November the 4th. So likely it goes into a runoff. That runoff wouldn't be until January. Well, guess what? The filing for the new congressional lines is November, and it is December. So basically, the candidates will have to declare before there is even a winner of the special election, likely. And then on top of that, Congressman Al Green, his house is now under the new map is in the 18th congressional district, and he has made it clear that he will be filing for the 18th. So basically, you have Congressman Green facing off with likely whoever wins this special election to fill Sylvester's unexpired term, and whoever else wants to file in the primary. So it is a mess. It is something that's unfortunate that they're pitting communities against one another. And then you're going to have this district that's been without representation once it's all said and done for pretty much a year, because Congressman Turner passed away in early January. Governor Abbott could have called a special election in May for the next uniform election, and he chose not to because he wanted to help Trump with his bidding so that there would be no representation from the 18th. And therefore, if it had that bill that you just referenced, the big ugly bill, that's what I call it, it would likely have died because it only passed by a 1 or 2 vote margin. So this is what every vote counts. This is a very razor thin Republican majority in the House, and that seat being unoccupied leaves those constituents without resources, because when they came to the what we call like earmarks, and you can explain that to the people where you talk about the goodies for their community, they got none because they had no one at the table at the seat of Congress advocating for it. So they were one of the few districts that got nothing out of the last round of congressional spending. So this is awful. And it is a damn shame, Gilbert, that they're playing political games. This is taxation without representation. Those communities have suffered enough with the loss of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and then the loss of Sylvester Turner. There was no way Governor Abbott should have added insult to injury to leave them without representation. And now you go and redraw their lines so the most people that live in those communities are going to be changed, because a lot of the people that live in the 18th congressional district right now, they're going to be shuffled into other congressional districts, because guess what? Most of the people in the 9th congressional district, they're moved into the 18th congressional district. So they're doing some musical chairs, and it's just wrong, Gilbert. It's just flat out wrong.
You know, Paul Puente, I don't know about you, but just listen to that. I'm exhausted.
It is.
I'm just like, holy cow. and imagine voters, how they're going to have to sort out the candidates who are trying to break through to talk about their platforms, how to sort this whole thing out. Well, you know, everyone knows I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to say something that's going to sound very nonpartisan, but it's important, which is because it is nonpartisan, which is really about what's right and wrong, right?
That's right.
We have a process in this country where you do the census every 10 years, and it's a very methodical way, et cetera. And then you reapportion the members of Congress based upon the new demographic changes and migrations and so forth. And this is now doing it in between a normal 10-year cycle. And the key is, now that we've opened that box, all of a sudden, California's going to probably do it. New York, Illinois, a lot of the Republican states are going to do it. And now it's just going to be a free-for-all. Instead of having a normal process and really doing our best to try to get politics out of the drawing of maps, now politics is going to dominate the drawing of maps. And we're going to be drawing the maps every time there's a regime change. Regime is probably the wrong word, but every time there's a governmental change and a state government. Am I right? Isn't that what's going to happen?
You're spot on. This is not the way we do things. Unfortunately, President Trump is not following the Constitution and the norms that most people follow. He wants to hold on to power, not by appealing to people with great policies, but by redrawing and gerrymander so that he can hold on to his slim majority. And here's what people hate. They hate when politicians pick their voters. The voters should be able to pick their public servants. It shouldn't be the other way around. But when it comes to redistricting, especially racially polarized redistricting, that is essentially what you have. You have politicians looking at a map, like AI, saying, well, these communities over here for you, these communities don't. So we're gonna draw these districts, these communities out, even though they may be compact and together, because they may not vote for the candidate. They choose to draw around, and it ends up with districts that looks like jigsaw puzzles. There's no rhyme or reason to them other than the politicians wanted to pick who they thought would give them the best chance to win. That is not the way things should work. That is not a public servant. That is not a statesman. That is a politician. We need more public servants and more statesmen, and we need to get away from this partisanship, this hyper-partisan environment that we live in, and get back to doing what's best for the people. So, Gilbert, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I appreciate you speaking truth to power, being on the front lines. Hopefully the voters will wake up, even though there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of voter apathy. Hopefully people will take charge and vote in record numbers and send a loud message to both sides that we will not allow this kind of stuff to continue. We will bring decorum back, and we will do things in decency and in order.
Representative Ron Reynolds, thank you for calling in. You're such a champion. Thank you. Keep us posted. We want to follow this story.
I will, brother. I always love
being
on your show. Thank you for using your platform and giving back on your own dime to keep the community abreast of what's happening and the stakes and why elections matter. Have a blessed day and a happy Labor Day, my friend.
Thank you so much, Representative. Thank you. So I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Paul Puente. So let's go back. I think people forget that the things that we enjoy today, not just in the labor market, but really corporate America, whether it is having health benefits, whether it's having vacation, whether it's having livable wage, all that all really came from the labor movement.
It did.
All that came from there.
Weekends.
Yep. That's right.
Overtime pay.
Not having child labor.
Yeah.
I mean, all that really came out of the Depression when labor started to organize, to realize that, we've got to speak up for the people. I think people forget those lessons.
Yeah.
And so one thing I would say,
and it's still,
please.
And it's still a constant struggle. Labor's still fighting to this day. I mean, we just passed 2023, we just passed a contractor safety policy in Harris County. And with the help of the county attorney and all the commissioners and the judge, they passed unanimously a contractor safety policy. And what does that mean? It means that if a contractor bids on a project at the county, they're required to have an OSHA 10 for all their workers, which is a minimum safety standard, and an OSHA 30 to their supervisors, which allows them to understand how to ensure that they're safe, or kind of help mitigate some of the safety issues that may occur. That was not a given. It wasn't a given. It wasn't like somebody said, well, we already have that in place. They didn't have anything in place.
It's hard to imagine that here we are in 2025, and we're just now doing that.
Yes.
I mean, touche, but you know what I mean? It seems like, golly, we've got to keep labor at the forefront of progress,
right?
Because that's really where the middle class rises.
Yeah.
And ultimately, in my view, and I didn't mean to cut you off, sir, is people got to remember what works is like a stool. You've got to have very strong, fair management, very strong and organized labor. And then you've got to have government regulation to make sure everything is going. And those three things go hand in hand to make society function to its optimal place.
Right.
That's how I view it.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think all of our lawmakers, all of our folks that are public servants, they need to be able to have I understand that the law says that they have to select the lowest responsible bidder, but what deems them responsible?
Yep.
So if you have a contractor who provides health care to their employees, additional to their wages, if you as a contractor provide health care, pensions, education, well, all of that costs. And so how are you ever going to be the lowest bidder if no one else is required to do the same?
See, we have the same sort of barrier of entry. That's what's called a barrier of entry. Right. We have the same thing in my industry where they say, because I'm a money manager, and people will say, oh, well, you got to have a 5 or 10 year track record. Well, wait a minute. At one point, even the biggest money manager didn't have a track record. But the fact that they now have been around for 50 years, it's like locking out any new businesses or any new firms. And of course, those are primarily people of color, because we're trying to build our own net worth and our own businesses. And so that's in my view, what's called a barrier of entry to really prevent progress.
So we're working on an RBO. An RBO is a responsible bidder ordinance.
Okay.
At the city of Houston. We're working with the mayor real closely. And what we're saying to the mayor is that this is going to help them with selecting good contractors. And it'll also help raise the standard of those that are not so good contractors.
That's right.
Because now you set the bar. And now everyone's got to either meet it or pass it. And look, at the end of the day, who benefits? The community.
Everybody.
The community does.
Everybody.
Because you only have to pay once to get the elevator fixed, once to get the electrical done, once to get the plumbing done, because you're hiring responsible contractors. And you are going through a process that's going to help them ensure that they do the work at the safest and most qualified way.
And some of these things relate to safety for the public. Right. I mean, you need to make sure that elevator is working properly. You got to make sure everything works properly. But going back for a second, I just think that especially, and if I'm saying something that's out of character, I apologize. Sure. Young people that are entering the labor market or the labor need to join the union.
Right.
And I think young people, because they're younger, they don't realize how they got these benefits that happen today.
Right.
And the key is to continue to support the effort, because they could easily be being rolled backwards.
Absolutely. I mean, you're looking at something that Representative Reynolds communicated just a minute ago, that there are things that are happening today that would have never happened 10, 15 years ago, or things that were fought for that are now being, turned back to time.
It's almost like we got to fight again. We're fighting again.
That doesn't make sense. And this country has to remember its history. I had the privilege to be in Philadelphia a couple of days ago. I was there for a conference, and I took a tour of a museum, and it was really impactful to think about, what this country has gone through, and through slavery, through the constitutional amendments, and women's voting rights, and just due process for individuals, habeas corpus. Currently, what we're dealing with today with the immigrants in our country, and you think of what they had put in display for us to view today in 2025. What happened in early 1900s, late 1800s. So to me, what are they going to write in what kind of museum will look like for our
50 years from now? What are we going to say about today?
What was the impact that we created to make it in those history books, or make it into the museum to say we fought back and we won, or we fought back and we lost? It was a little discerning, but at the same time, inspiring, because we do need to do something, and not just stand idle and wait for somebody else to do it.
We have to always remember history, and none of this critical race theory. At the end of the day, it's history, and there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the past. And we got to learn from those things, whether it's the good or the bad. And that way we make sure we're always focusing on making more good and avoiding the bad.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It's important. We have another caller already. Who's that caller? Oh, let's get Anise Parker on the line. Mayor Parker, are you there? Anise Parker, are you there?
Yeah. Hey.
Mayor, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're on live with the 5 radio stations. And of course, we're now on 5 TV stations on Saturday nights. And we have Mr. Paul Puente on the line, of course, the head of the Building Trades. I know one of your good friends. And
Good morning.
And so, Mayor, I hope I can tell everybody that you're going to be our next county judge. I just know it's going to happen. So I don't know if I can say it or not, but at the end of the day, you're running, you're declared, and there we're off.
Well, you can keep putting that out in the universe. I'm very happy to hear that. I just wanted to call in, and I'm glad you have Paul on the call, because I just wanted to call in and say we all need to be celebrating Labor Day and remembering why we have Labor Day and why we need to celebrate it, and to say that I had a fantastic time out at the big Labor Day barbecue on Saturday. But I also I'm planning to be at the No Billionaires March this afternoon.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, tell us about that, Mayor Parker, the No Billionaire March. Tell us about that.
Well, this is really organized I believe, in support of Unite Here and their action against the Hilton Americas and
they're in contract
their other contractors down at in the convention center area. Yep. They are the service workers in the downtown convention hotels.
Wonderful.
And they have a labor action plan, but they are doing the Workers Over Billionaires March to call attention to it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: with Labor Day, how important has labor been to you, Mayor, in your life and in your political world, and just in general?
I have been. I have not personally been a member of of a labor union, although I am have recently joined the Hope retirees group. Hope is the City of Houston civilian employees. I didn't know I was eligible, but they informed me that that I can be a member of the Hope retirees. And my grandfather was a union member, but mostly my interaction with labor has been in support of my campaigns and as a active participant in contract negotiations. As mayor of Houston, I successfully negotiated contracts with our firefighters, our police, and our civilian employees. Fire once, police twice, and civilians twice. So, being across the table and working to find a path forward that was good for the citizens of Houston and good for our employees.
That is wonderful, Mayor. It's interesting because the contrast, not throwing anybody under the bus, but was so different sort of after your term on whether it was the firefighters or others. And I'm just so glad that, you have that mindset of how we need a strong labor movement and we need, organized labor, because that's what, again, brought healthcare benefits, child labor laws, livable wages. All those things really came from the labor movement, things that we enjoy not only in the public sector, but even the private sector.
They weren't gifted. They weren't gifted. They were pushed.
They were pushed. They were fought for. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that is awesome. Well, Mayor, I'm going to give you the last word. What do you want to say here on this Labor Day about labor, what it means to you and to Houston and Harris County?
So I think every one of us should be very, very concerned when we watch the illegal actions of Donald Trump as he forces unionized labor out of federal employment.
Right.
And how that may very well, people may try to filter that down to the state and local level. We all have to be concerned about that. This is not just, that's some federal employee I don't have to worry about. This is about the people who get the job done for all of us across America. And we need to double down right now to protect jobs and livelihoods of millions of working Americans.
Wonderful. Mayor Parker, thank you for calling in, and please call in anytime. And that's, in my view, one of the best mayors we've ever had in the history of Houston, Texas.
Thank you, Gilbert.
It's true. Mayor Denise Parker, and of course, new candidate for county judge. Thank you, Mayor Parker.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. So going back for a second, did we have another caller there? Was there Ernie on there? An Ernie?
Ernie. Hello, Ernie.
Did we lose her?
Ernie.
Okay, I think we lost her. That's okay. She'll come back. So coming back, Paul. So the other thing I wanted to mention is when you look today, and obviously, I went to college.
Right.
I'm an Ivy Leaguer, et cetera. And my daughter is going to be going to University of Chicago in 3 weeks. She'll be a first year. And are you ready for this? It is now almost $100,000 to go to these elite colleges, Ivy Leagues, et cetera. Even our state colleges are so expensive. It's almost to the point where, and I applaud these universities that are really ensuring that, the lower, it's hard to say, but the poverty level, that they can get scholarships and so forth. And of course, those that can afford it. But there's this whole big section of people, the middle class,
right,
that are so, trying to get, raise their standard of living and their lineage or their families, et cetera. And they're the ones getting boxed out of these universities.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that there needs to be a whole reevaluation, because you can go to a school and borrow a bunch of money. And let's say you come out of school with $300,000 or $400,000 in debt, and you're just now trying to find a job. And by the way, do you know that the unemployment for young people right now,
10%.
It's very high.
10%.
10%.
Yep.
In fact, it's way above the national average.
Yep.
Young people having a very hard time finding jobs.
Right.
So you can have that way, or start right out of high school, start going into the building trades or one of the other
Yep.
unions and doing these things and really getting trained along the way
Yep.
with some of the best people possible.
Oh my God.
And then you're, you have healthcare benefits, you have vacations accruing, pensions,
Yep.
everything. Talk a little bit about
So,
that.
so if anyone wanted to get into the apprenticeship readiness program, it's a pre-apprenticeship program that educates them about all the different apprenticeship programs that we have. So you can go to arpmc3.com, or you can go to the Houston, just Google Houston building trades, and you'll get to our website. I can tell you that the apprenticeship readiness is a boot camp, if you will. It'll put the young man or young lady through an understanding of what the expectation is out on the field, get to really understand, that the work that we do is outside. It's going to be raining. It's going to be hot. It's going to be cold. And I think sometimes that what turns people off, but at the same time, it is not all the time. It is some of the projects that are going to be like that. The educational process that we have, it's an earn while you learn. So they'll go to school. We don't accept anyone into our apprenticeship programs unless we have a path to employment. So they have to go to work, and they're not working just by themselves. They're with a seasoned individual that has already been through the program. So they'll be tied to the hip to the other person, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio typically. And that journeyman or the journey person will be with that apprentice, and they'll learn 40 hours a week the trade. So the classroom is on the job training, and and when you go to class and get your technical training, it's 1 to 2 nights a week, and it's for like 4 hours from 6 to 4, depending on the trade. And you'll go through 3 to 5 years, all at no cost to you.
Wow.
Because the employers and the union created the apprenticeship program. It's called a joint apprenticeship training committee. And this committee, what it does is collectively you have a group of contractors that utilize or employ the membership that they're educating. I mean, think of a banking institute. If they invested,
it's almost like that's the pipeline to hire them, but you're making sure they're getting trained properly.
Well, they're also sitting at the table helping select these individuals when they come for the interview.
Right?
So you have the committee is made up of these owners that sit at the table, and then the union reps, they sit at the table, and then these apprentices come in, and they have to have a high school diploma. They have to be 18 years of age. They have to have a GED if they didn't have a high school diploma. They have to have a social security card, birth certificate, a state ID, your driver's license, and they have to be drug free. They have to have reliable transportation. They have to provide a means and ways to get to work, because not all of our jobs are near a bus line, unfortunately. But once they do that, they select the best individuals that they believe would be the best candidates or the best employees for their contractors that they represent, and the best members. And so the pre-apprenticeship has helped us with retention rates. So typically we have around 70% retention rate in our first year. Third year, we have about an 80, 90, 100% retention rate, because they're working, they're making money. They have healthcare additional to their wages. They have pensions additional to their wages. They have, regular increases that are negotiated between the union, and because they're under a collective bargaining agreement, that they communicate with the unions and the contractors. They come together every 3 years and negotiate a new contract, and all the raises are embedded into that agreement.
How wonderful! How do we get the word out? Obviously, I'm glad we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
How do we get the word out? Because I think people need to recognize it's a viable alternative, and it's also a viable career path. And I've been to, and I want to talk a little bit about.
And I'll tell you that
go.
The toughest part for us is the employers are competing against people who do not do the same thing we do. They don't provide health care. They don't provide pensions. They don't provide education at no cost to the individual. And so when we are the ones doing that, it's hard for us to get work unless it's a prevailing wage job, at the county or at the city. or any municipal facility at the port. And it's tough for us to get that kind of work. And we stopped doing residential because the market is terrible. I mean, it's hard for us to compete when they're paying what they're paying out to build our homes or sometimes our schools. It's tough to bid on that type of work.
Well, that's regrettable because it's all about lifting people into the middle class and letting them build a better life for their children, etc. And that's what it's all about, because we're really all in this together.
Right.
And it's also about making sure you get the right building, the right stuff.
Oh,
the
my
like,
God.
you don't want to. This is an unfair word, but you don't want to cheap it out.
Right.
Because you know what they say, you get what you pay for.
Yes, exactly the truth.
You get what you pay for. I'm going to take a quick break because we have Representative Christina Morales calling in. Let's just get her real quick. Representative Morales, are you there?
Yes. How are you, Gilbert?
How are you, Representative? Thank you for calling in. I have Mr. Paul Puente, of course,
Hey, good
who
morning.
you know real well, I'm
Hi,
sure.
Paul. How are you?
Good. Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to both of you.
Well, Representative, we just had Representative Ron Reynolds earlier. We had Anise Parker, and then we just had a couple of citizens call in. But I'm so glad you're here because, and I know how busy you are. Thank you for calling in. All I could say is listening to Representative Reynolds, when we really went through and broke it down that here we don't have representation in CD 18, and they got all these people running, and they're all very good candidates, et cetera. And then now you're going to redraw the maps, and then you're going to have like a whole nother election, and there'll be different people and different things. It's just chaos. And when I heard him go through it all, I got exhausted. What am I missing other than, my goodness, if I'm an everyday voter, I would just say, holy cow. And I know this is terrible. I think I'd probably say, you know what? I'm just going to wait for 2 or 3 cycles down the road when I can figure this whole thing out. And I hope that's not what happens. I hope that's not what happens.
Same here. It really is traumatizing is the best word I can use. Our communities will be traumatized when they actually realize what is going on. I read an article the other day that most people don't even know there's a special election for CD 18. So to get them up and educated about this special election, and then to try to tell them how the lines have changed and there's a whole new slew of candidates. That's really, really difficult. And I'm still just so broken up about what has happened to Congressional District 29. It took us forever to elect a Latina finally in Harris County when we make up, 50%, I would say, of the county.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally had a Latina representing us. And it took years of mobilizing neighborhoods, these low propensity voters, getting them out to vote and reaching a certain number of Latinos, like 70% in the district, but knowing only 50+% were of voting population age. To finally elect her, and now to see her district just totally, I think only 20% of her district is part of the original district.
No
that she
kidding.
Won the very first time.
Oh,
yeah, so
That's terrible.
it's really heartbreaking. And then you have this whole new district that really scooped up some historic Latino neighborhoods that I currently represent, all along the East End, and it's Magnolia Park, Denver Harbor, all of these historic Latino neighborhoods that are now being put into 9, and they'll be connected to Liberty County.
Wow.
What do these folks have in common with that county? And it's just, like I said, it is traumatizing. But the case is in court, as Ron may have mentioned, and there's a date that's been given to us, October the 1st, that we'll start watching that and trying to see what happens, and hopefully, we'll be victorious. I don't want to be too optimistic, but I do hope that maybe those judges will, you know, things will come out in our favor, and we'll be able to keep the districts the way they are, which are still gerrymandered, but
Right.
But you know what, Representative, it's just one of those things where you got a lawsuit on top of the pending lawsuit. It's just chaos somehow.
it is. And I'm still part of that pending lawsuit with the district I represent now. Now, our state house seats have not been impacted, or the state senate seats, but because we broke quorum, there have been threats that they would redraw our lines as well. And there was a letter sent by some of my colleagues to ask the governor to redistrict our seats as well, which would just be just outrageous. So I hope that doesn't happen. But, you know, at this point, you really don't know how low these guys are going to go.
Well, you know, everyone knows I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to put a completely nonpartisan hat on for a second, which is, where did this end? At the end of the day, you know, of course, you're going to have now California's going to try to change things, other states, and then it's going to become anytime there's a sort of a new government of a state, they're just going to redo all the lines. In other words, rather than doing it a systematic, data-driven, every 10 years, a census, it's going to be every time there's a leadership change, and then it becomes chaos.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And, you know, I'm struggling with Gavin Newsom's decision to redistrict his own state. And we've heard some complaints along the way, but ultimately we have to fight fire with fire.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is what it's going to take, I mean, people have said we want to see Democrats fighting back. And that's what this is. This is us fighting back and, you know, fighting fire. Literally, you know, we're doing the same thing they're doing. And that's the only way we can at least make things fair, you know.
No,
I wanted to.
I totally understand.
yes.
You go. Keep going. Keep going.
Well, I wanted to just say something. I was looking at some of the comments while I was watching. I'm home with my grandsons today.
Oh, how wonderful.
So I'm enjoying them on Labor Day before they have to go back to school tomorrow. But one person said support small businesses. So I wanted to just tell you real quickly that I was, in a bipartisan fashion, able to pass a resolution to recognize the first Saturday of every month for the next 10 years in Texas as Small Business Saturday. So
nice.
I'm hoping next session to get some funding for this so we can do billboards, social media. It was signed by the governor. He took the time to sign the resolution because, you know, Texas is supposed to be for business, and we like businesses who support our workers and take care of our workers, you know, today being Labor Day, and our small businesses, employ a majority of the workers in our state. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that every first Saturday of the month in Texas is Small Business Saturday. And I'm going to try to go to different businesses within the district I represent, and I've encouraged other members to do the same and recognize a business for Small Business Saturday, because, you know, they're dealing with a lot right now between the deportations and tariffs and the high cost of insurance, property taxes. So it's really important that we support our small businesses. So wanted to chime in on that when I saw the comment of one of your supporters.
I think that's wonderful. I think what we ought to do, that might be a good show just to talk about. I'll talk to you offline about having you on the show to talk about that. I think that's something
that would
important.
Be great.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and we have a lot of small business and minority contractors that are union that were at one time went through the apprenticeship program. So, you know, through the apprenticeship programs, they become journeymen and they become masters of their trade, depending on what trade they get into. But a lot of them open up their own business because they understand where they're going to get their people from, because they went through the process of working for a contractor. And now it's like there's this school that feeds them qualified people.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, a lot of your businesses they suffer from not being able to find good help. Well, this is a solution.
Amen
That's
for that.
awesome.
Well, Representative, you know what?
Yes.
I need to have you on the show. So I'm going to get you, talk to your staff and everything else, and we'll get that going.
Would definitely like to come back and listen. You guys have a happy Labor Day. I'm going to enjoy my grandkids. I was gone for a while and I'm enjoying them today. And I hope you have a great day with your families.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Representative Morales. And very quickly.
Okay, take care.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I just want to give a shout out again to KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH 1230 KCOH.com, Latino Sports, of course, 850 AM, Sangeet Radio. And I want to welcome, of course, Comcast Channel 17, AT&T 99, Phonoscope 96, Suddenlink 99, and give a shout out, of course, to hmstv.org. And of course, the most important thing is I want to make sure everybody knows that I can tell you right now, the best carne guisada is right there at Laredo Cacaria. And I mean it. I love that place and I go whenever I can. And I think they should just have a slogan that says, best carne guisada on the planet.
It's delicious.
It is good, delicious.
Oh man, I've been there.
You've been there?
On Irvington.
Yep.
6904 Irvington Boulevard. It's delicious.
Yeah, and they're good people.
Oh yeah.
And I've they've gotten me tacos where they sent it to my office to say thank you for me. But of course, Laredo Taqueria, they do a lot of catering. Really great food.
It is.
And great people. And again, a small business.
Yep.
Going back to talking about small business, we got to support them. I know we have just a few more minutes. I want to get one more caller in. Ernie, are you there?
Yes, Gilbert, how are you?
Good. I'm so sorry it's taking so long. We have Paul Puente. You've been very patient. I know you were
Happy
on
Labor
there.
Day.
Hi, Mr. Puente. Thank you so much for being here and talking with Gilbert because Gilbert is a great leader. He just received the award, Most Admired CEO from the Houston Business Journal.
Know,
what
that's
an
right.
excellent award for him. Congratulations, Gilbert.
Congrats, bro.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Gilbert's going to be an inspirational speaker for us for Leadership Houston on September the 18th.
Oh, nice.
And I'm very excited. It's in combination with the Houston Astros Foundation. And we need leadership right now more than ever.
Absolutely.
It's very depressing when you look at what's happening in our country. But I applaud Gilbert for always trying to be the positive link to the community and really just representing Hispanics on a whole. I love your whole conversation about the union. My dad was a part of the union for the post office.
Oh, that's awesome. Letter carrier.
Yep. And he actually raised, 11 people on his salary.
Wow.
Oh, I'll tell you that the union wages are generational wealth.
Yes.
Not only, it provides not only for the individual, but their entire family. It just changes the dynamic.
Everything.
Of the
I
household.
wouldn't have been able to go to college without, him being able to say it's not if, it's when.
Right.
That's all he ever said was you're going and that's it. And let me tell you this, what I liked about what you were saying is the Hispanic people, my dad, when he was with the union, he told the post office, hey, I'm bilingual. I should get paid for that.
Amen.
You're asking me to decipher all this mail and do all this. Well, I need to get paid extra for that.
Amen
and you know
to
what?
that.
Amen. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of Hispanics out here
Yeah.
that are bilingual and helping within the health industry, helping within
A lot of
various industries,
Yeah.
and they need to get paid extra for that.
A lot of them are
Well-
using their own trucks, or a lot of them are using their own cell phones, and it's like nobody's compensating them for the use. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree.
Ernie, I'm going to
No, I
have to
appreciate
sign
you.
off here because we're running out of
Thank
time.
you.
I got about 1 minute. So, Ernie, please call in again. I apologize. I know you called earlier.
No, congrats to you, Gilbert. I just want to make sure that you realize how
Yeah.
much you mean to the community.
Thank you so
And
much.
Thank you, Mr. Puente.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Paul
Happy Labor
Puente,
Day.
you have the last word. Tell Houston, Harris County, anything you want to say. You got 1 minute.
All right. So go to the ARPMC3.com, get signed up with our unions, get into construction, find a union that calls to you. We want you to be a part of our organizations.
I'm going to have you back again because I feel like there was so much going on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have you back because
All right.
I really want to pump it up because people need to know how valuable the unions are and how important they are and what it does to change the lineage of a family.
Yep.
It is incredible. This is Gilbert Garcia at A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspirations, and Prayer, saying we will see you next time. And go get some carne guisada.
All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. We're going to now be on television. We will air every Saturday on Comcast 17, AT&T Channel 99, Phonoscope Channel 96, Suddenlink 99, and also hmstv.org. Every new episode every Saturday at 7 p.m. And follow me on social media. See you then.